Hello and welcome to the first FPL stream of the season 2022-2023 on Fantasy Football Hub. I'm joined by Abdul, aka FPL Salah, who's a much better FPL manager than me. But you better get used to me because I'm going to be hosting a lot of stuff on this channel over the coming year, trying to get better at the game as always. You might remember from the double up. But Abdul, I could sit and chat about myself all day, but the only thing people care about today is the fixtures for the Premier League.
Yeah.
Were you excited for this? Is this a big moment for you? Will you get drafting, or do you just kind of forget about it for another month, have a bit more off time, and then get stuck in?
To be honest, I'll have a wee look at the fixtures. I think probably not make any drafts until at least 3 or 4 weeks. But I think it's good to look at the fixtures and kind of just get your head around them, because then from that you kind of know which premiums you're going to go for, and which kind of teams to target. Based on the first maybe 5 to 6 game weeks.
Yeah, I think the thing is, like, once you've got a rough idea, even from today, like the big teams or the teams that you're likely to target with your double and triple ups, it makes that transfer window that bit more interesting, because if the team, whenever you know this, a big signing like, not that Darwin's going to be on everyone's mind. I mean, he's probably going to be a bench rotation player for a while anyway, but these big marquee moves, they don't really matter as much if you're not going to be picking them in your team. They're exciting from an FPL perspective. They're exciting from a football perspective, but from an FPL perspective, maybe it makes them a bit defunct. But now, whenever we know, like, okay, this team is good, it'll be really exciting seeing who's coming into those teams and who could be a good asset in FPL going into next season. But yeah, I think they have been dropped. There was a lot of leaks beforehand. Did you go looking at all the leaks and?
Yeah. So I think we've got Holly Shan's graphic up at the moment. Yeah,
we have it. It's not on the screen. Let me see if this works. Let's hope this works. Bang. This is from Holly Shand on Twitter. This was out earlier. We're pretty sure this match is up. There might be one or two little differences. We haven't cross-checked everything, but the first week or two is definitely bang on. So it's on the screen now.
Yeah, I think this one is bang on. So basically we can see from there, John, like basically, like, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City have got a great opening schedule, which is obviously going to be. I mean, I guess everybody planned on having Haaland, Salah, Trent anyway, so I don't think it's going to kind of change much in terms of premiums. I think everybody was kind of set on Haaland, but I think this kind of pretty much secures it. They've got here. I can see they've got West Ham United away. They've got Bournemouth, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, and Nottingham Forest. I mean, that's in their first 5, and then they've got Aston Villa away. So yeah, I can obviously definitely see Haaland being in everyone's team now for sure.
Will you go for Haaland?
Sorry,
will you pick him?
I think I will, most likely now, because for me, it obviously kind of depends on his price as well when the game's launched. But just looking at Spurs fixtures for the first, because it was going to be between him and Harry Kane for me. I think they'll come in at a similar price. But looking at Spurs fixtures, we've got Southampton and then Chelsea away, game week 2, and then Wolves at home, and then Nottingham Forest, West Ham, then Fulham. So to be honest, they've only got really one toughest fixture in there against Chelsea away, and then Wolves at home. So, you know what? I don't know. I guess I'm going to see what the price difference is between him and Kane. I think if they come in at the same price, John, I think it is going to be hard to, I think it's going to be hard to justify Haaland over Kane, because Kane is like a 90-minute man. He's proven in the Premier League, goals and assists. He's on penalties. Whereas with Haaland, he's new to the league. With City, how many minutes is he going to get? Is he going to start game week 1, etc.? Well, I think he will start game week 1, but it depends. With Pep and the amount of players they've got, I don't see him being a 90-minute man every game week. Saying that though, if he gets 3 out of 4, one out of every 2 games, or 3 out of every 4, he's probably still going to be worth it.
I want to derail. I'm going to derail this very slightly from fixtures for a second and focus on that Haaland point, right? And so for anyone who doesn't know me, I play sort of global fantasy games, so I follow football from all around Europe and all around the world. So I followed the likes of Haaland, who isn't exactly under the radar compared to some of the leagues I'd watch, but I've watched him a lot. But something that concerns me, even from an FPL perspective, and it is these tiny edges, I suppose, that can improve your FPL game, it's his injury record. And I'm not saying that if he's fit and firing and ready to go into the first 6 weeks that, Haaland's been injured a lot over the last 2 years, I'm not picking him even though he's firing fit. I don't think it should be the main decision maker, but when you've got a tight call like that between Harry Kane, albeit whose injuries haven't been amazing either, but when you've got that kind of 50-50 call to make, I just don't know. I just don't know. I look at Haaland, I think he's not going to be a 90-minute man. I think there's risk of rotation there massively. I think there's risk of injury there. I think there's a lot of risks, but don't get me wrong, he's glitz, he's glam. And even if he gets 60 minutes, you'd back him to score every game he plays for City that he gets 60 minutes in. So I don't know, it's a tough one. My heart wants to put Haaland in my team. My head's kind of saying pick someone a bit safer, but like, I don't know, I'll probably completely DJing into it and captain Haaland first game week, who knows.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, I think it's going to be tough to go out with them. I think especially with his ownership. Now looking at all his fixtures, I can see him having an extremely high ownership. Similar to what Werner had a few seasons ago. Remember that when he first came in the league. Obviously, he didn't kind of light it up. He's not kind of performed as we thought, but he was, I think, one of the highest owned players in Game Week 1 2 seasons ago when he first came in. So I think Haaland's going to be similar. But yeah, it's interesting because Arsenal have got a really good opening fixtures as well. So I think their defence and obviously Saka is going to be obviously really highly owned as well, I think, with those fixtures for Arsenal. Chelsea got a really good actually open run as well. I've seen a lot of people making rough drafts, on Twitter, before the fixtures were even released, and they were kind of just putting in the likes of Trent, Salah, James, all the players who are quite popular anyway. But I think with that fixture release, it can just kind of cements them really, because all those, I think Chelsea have got a good run as well. I think Spurs' fixtures are decent as well. I mean, I'm probably even with that Chelsea away game in Game Week 2, you probably still start with Son in your team, and the likes like Man United, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Fulham, for example, as well. They've got quite a tough open run as well. So I mean, they're probably teams you can avoid as well. I don't think many will be going for likes of Bruno Fernandes and Ronaldo in their team. And now they've got Haaland and Kane, and then they've got all those good midfield options as well.
Yeah, who from Arsenal, I suppose, jumps out at you? I mean, there's a lot of a transfer window left to go, but I mean, Arsenal have some great fixtures there. I'm just looking at them, having, regardless of the kind of Premier League, the previous season Premier League teams in the first 2 game weeks. I mean, then you've got your Bournemouths, your Fulhams. Even if we look a bit further than that, I'm not sure how far away Nottingham Forest would be, but Arsenal, maybe they are missing that kind of talisman FPL asset in terms of Liverpool have their Salahs and there's the Kevin De Bruyne's and there's the whoever else's. Arsenal are kind of missing that guy. Maybe it's Saka. Maybe Odegaard continues the form he showed towards the end of last season. Maybe he gets a few more assists, gets on the score sheet a bit more. I don't know. Is there anyone at Arsenal it's on your head already?
I mean, I think looking at the fixture list, definitely Saka for me, and then one of the defenders. I think maybe. I mean, I don't think Ben White's going to come in at 4.5 again. If he was, he'd nailed in the team. So I guess just looking at probably one of the defenders. Hopefully, you can pick one up for maybe 5 million. I think I'll be a bit optimistic. I think you'll get an Arsenal defender for 4.5 million this season, but definitely great run. And they'll probably be. And you got. I mean, I think Brighton. Another solid defensive team. With good opening fixtures and Wolves. So I think we might get. A few 4.5 defenders there for Wolves and Brighton, especially as Wolves didn't really perform last season. So I think their assets might come in a wee bit underpriced this season.
I'm just going to shout out a few people in the comments because we haven't done that yet. Look, thanks a million to everyone who's here live. Obviously, it's very, very early in terms of looking towards next season, but this is kind of the first exciting day on the calendar. Next up will be the price drops and things, but never give up. FPL was first in the comments. Alexa was there. Mohammed Syed was there. TJC Sports. Harry's Harry's chatting away. Harry's having a ball in the comments. Enz is there. Quinny, Reese. Loadsy is there. Look, thanks a million for all the engagement. Please do like the video and do subscribe to the channel. I'm telling you now, there's big changes inbound for next season. We're going to change the content game around this FPL hub channel for good. We've a lot of really, really exciting things planned for the summer, and we're going to have like an absolute non-stop schedule with absolute geniuses like Salah here, and chumps like me here trying to have a bit of crack. So it's going to be a nice mix, something for everyone. Please do subscribe. But yeah, I suppose like the converse of this is we've been focusing very much towards the top of this ticker, and again, shout out to Holly Shand for having this ready. If we look at the bottom, is there anyone there that you're kind of like, I think it's almost unfortunate for the promoted teams that most of them are towards the bottom of this. We've obviously got Fulham, Nottingham, Bournemouth all hovering down there, so they wouldn't have really been in people's thoughts anyway, apart from maybe a couple of budget enablers perhaps. But I mean, West Ham might have been a team people were half looking at. Palace, maybe some of their attacking assets finished well last season, but this kind of takes them out of the running in many respects. Mitrovic was looked as maybe the budget kind of forward option. Maybe he would have come in around the 7 million mark, 6.5. There's, as much as this gets us excited about players, it also kills a few off. Who's it killed off for you?
I think for me, I was quite disappointed to see Fulham at the bottom of that list because I was really excited by Mitrovic. I think he's going to be a great value option. I think he'll come in at 6.5 million. I'll be honest. I don't think FPL have ever priced a championship striker, more than 6.5 million. So I think at that price is going to be fantastic. Even at 7 million, he's good value. You know what I mean? I mean, broke the record the championship last season. He actually is pro in the league because if you look at his his goals and assists in the leagues, when he's been here, he's put up good numbers. He's actually proved good value. So he's probably one that's kind of probably killed off, with those fixtures. I think with Palace, I would have maybe had one of the defenders in there because they really improved last season under Vieira, especially in defence. I think they ended up the season with being the top 5 for XGC. So so looking at them, that's probably killed off the defensive assets for me. And Nottingham Forest, I don't know. I think a lot of their players that like Jed Spence, are looking at moves away. Apparently he's got the Spurs, so I think they're kind of a wait for me right now anyway. But yeah, I think the main one for me is probably killed off Mitrovic, as that third striker.
Yeah, I think I've seen already his name a couple of times in the comments. A few people kind of heartbroken about that. And just to sort of pick off this comment, it's from Quinny saying Trippier will be cheat code, and it's not necessarily whether or not Trippier will be cheat code from an FPL standpoint. If we look at Newcastle bang in the middle there, we've looked at the top, we've kind of looked at the bottom. Newcastle are really interesting for me. They're a team that, last season they obviously spent money. They spent it well. Bruno Guimaraes was a remarkable signing. Trippier looked before the injury, looked like a really good signing as well. I'm really interested to see what exactly they're going to get over the line this transfer window, because they're getting links with players that they previously just would not have been able to attract. I wonder why they can now. Kaching, but I'm really interested. And another mid-table here, so from a fixture standpoint, apart from that opening fixture, and even Brighton, maybe the Man City, Liverpool in the first 6 would put most people off. But even just as a team for next season in FPL, I'm not going to say they're sleepers, because it's not like, they're under the radar. Everyone knows they have a load of money and they're going to spend it. But I just think they're going to make a couple of cracking signings this summer and genuinely be kind of like, I think there'll be times this season when Newcastle triple ups will be happening. Yeah,
I mean, quite possibly. I think you've seen the improvement they made from a few of their signings just in January onwards. I think I've seen a stat somewhere that said that from January onwards until the end of the season, they actually finished the table in second position in terms of points scored. So yeah, they made huge improvements, and they will attract a lot more signings now. They've got the money, and I wouldn't be surprised with the top 8 finish, to be honest, with Newcastle. Not at all. And then I think obviously Callum Wilson can be interesting to see what price he comes in at as well.
Yeah, I think that's where I'd be looking for them, and I think the reason I'm dropping something as big as a triple up on something like Newcastle is because I think they're going to overachieve based on the price the players will come into the game. Is what I would speculate. That's a bit of an outside shout, but yeah, it's just very interesting to see them there with the Forest as the opening game, which will probably be the one people want to target. But it's hard to justify getting the boys into the team whenever Man City's coming up on Liverpool. So it'll be interested to see how people play that. I'm trying to see, is anyone else standing out there? Are there any other teams or players you'd be going at? I think West Ham are a weird one now. Like, they had their moments last season, that some remarkable FPL assets at different stages, but I don't know. Like Antonio going off the boil and this and that. I don't really know. If Man City opening fixture is going to put everyone off, but then you've got Forest, Brighton, and Villa. I mean, then you've Spurs and Chelsea. Will anyone go for any West Ham assets, or are they kind of forget about them for a while?
I don't know. I think Bowen might come in, maybe a bit overpriced. So again, I think it depends on the price. I mean, they've got Man City, and if you look at it this way, they've got Man City, Tottenham, and Chelsea in their first six. So even though they've got that nice little run, I mean, Nottingham Forest are probably a good fixture. But Brighton isn't as easy as it looks on paper. So yeah, I think I'd probably avoid their assets. In my opening team, in my game week 1 team. So probably look at them later on down the line. See where Antonio's at. We obviously started off the season last season blistering form, but always kind of tailed off massively towards the end. Not only in his like kind of goals and assists, but his actual stats took a dive as well. So yeah, I think for me, West Ham would be a wait and see. I'm interested to see what the likes of like Fulham, Bournemouth, and Nottingham Forest do with their signings and that. I think we might see some kind of gems in there, but again, with that, I think I'd be looking at them maybe kind of later on down the line. I think Mitrovic will definitely make into my team at some point in the season, just maybe not in game week 1 now.
Something I'd love to see from people in the comments is I want 2 players from you just for a bit of conversation topics. I want you to just write lock or L. So the L, the lock player, the player that you will 100% start the season with, and try and be a bit creative. You could just say Salah. I get it. You could say Haaland, and they're fair answers. But the more creative the answer, brilliant. Who is the most weird locked player for you after seeing this, and who is one player that you're absolutely not considering? And again, the more prolific that player, the better. You could say Mitrovic, and we'll all go, well, obviously now look at the fixtures, but who is the most prolific player that you're absolutely not having in your team? So who's locked and who's not? Drop it in the comments. We'll have a look at some of those. I'm just looking at who have we not mentioned. I mean, Brentford and Brighton, Wolves even are all just below the Arsenal, Liverpool and City there. Wolves, Brighton, Brentford. Anyone interest you there? Because they all have decent starts.
Yeah, I mean, Everton have got, similar to kind of West Ham, they've got a hard opening game against Chelsea, and then they've got Villa, Forest, Brentford, and Leeds. So I guess, depending on, if Richarlison goes, DCL might be back in the picture for us. Richarlison's been linked to Spurs. So if he goes, then, that's DCL as their main striker again, probably get penalties back as well. So I think he's probably one to look out for. Ollie Watkins as well. Villa have got a decent, I'd say, opening 5 fixtures, but then they've got City in game week 6. But yeah, these are all players that you could definitely look at in the forward line. I think obviously that kind of third striker spot kind of been opened up now, because with Fulham's fixtures, with everybody kind of really set on Mitrovic, that the spot's probably opened up again. So yeah, to be honest, I guess, depending on even like your team structure and which players you're going to have, you probably I might end up with Mitrovic anyway due to his price point, and end up kind of benching him. But I think at the moment, the likes of Watkins and DCL could be good shouts as well.
We have pre-season, we have injuries, we have transfers, we have manager change, we have everything. But right now, if I said you have to do it, who's your captain game week 1?
Oh, Salah without a doubt.
Salah without a doubt. That's an easy answer.
Yeah,
who's your vice captain game week 1?
If it was vice, probably Haaland. But I'm just looking at that and I'm thinking, Salah will probably be my captain for the first, maybe, I'd say, like, out of 5 of those first 6 game weeks, he'd probably be my captain. Fulham, Palace, maybe not at Man United, because and then they've got Bournemouth, Newcastle, and so yeah, those game week 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 will probably be Salah captain for me.
And then game week 3 is where you get your DCL captain on.
Yeah, no, game week 3 maybe. If I go Haaland, I could go Newcastle in game week 3. But yeah, I guess see what happens. I think I'm just looking at that. Leeds will be an interesting one because if Bamford is fit, I like Leeds' fixtures there. They've got Chelsea in game week 3, but their first 6 are decent. Wolves at home, Southampton, Brighton, Everton, and Brentford. So a fit Bamford, with kind of injury concerns last season as well. He didn't play much. Again, might be another one that's kind of underpriced by FPL. Might come in at maybe 7. He'd be an absolute bargain at that price playing for that Leeds team.
There's, I just choked. There's a few comments here coming in from the question I asked, and I want to see, is there any of them that jump out at you? They're kind of cool. So apparently Chico has Trent locked. Kauna says not Trent. So there's what's your? There's the whole Trent Robertson debate, the whole just Liverpool defence debate. Will you be starting with a Liverpool defender? I imagine you will. I will be personally, but price matters. But I mean, how high can the price really go?
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to price him at 9.5 million, are they? Like Trent. So yeah, I think Salah and Trent are locks. I think Salah will probably come in at 12.5, 13. Trent for me would probably be 7.5 or 8, maximum. So yeah, again, Trent is going to outscore every other player in the 7.5 million to 8 million range. So definitely a lock, without doubt.
Absolute lock. I'd agree. I'm a big Trent fanboy. So Sam, I've seen a few locks of Perisic. A few people saying Perisic they like the idea of. Tell me this, and maybe I've missed something, because I have to admit I kind of look at June as my wind down time for making content, because for 11 months of the year it's full on, and I try and switch off. It's been hard with the Nations League. There's been a lot happening. But am I missing something, or is Perisic coming in not is Reguilon really crap now or something? I mean, there's Davies, there's a few other players out in the left hand side of that Spurs pitch, or is he coming out in the right? What's the story with Perisic? Am I missing something?
I guess it's. With Reguilon, he was pretty much dropped last season, wasn't he? For Sessegnon, and yeah, I mean their kind of wing back situation has been a bit dire in terms of FPL wise. I mean, I think Emerson Royale ended up as the kind of the best kind of wing back option there. With the position of Sessegnon and Reguilon, and then Doherty being out injured. So yeah, I would say Perisic coming in as maybe a 5 point, probably like a 6 million wing back is a decent option. Probably not what I'll start with, to be honest. I don't think I'll start with him. Just with him being, I think he's like 34 now. He's new to the Premier League. I think I'm looking at those fixtures. I think my defence will be kind of Liverpool. So be maybe Trent, Cancelo, James or Chilwell, and then two 4.5 million defenders there. Hopefully, probably maybe Brighton, Wolves. If we get lucky with Arsenal, I doubt that. But yeah, I can see that being my back line. So probably won't have room for Perisic, but he might emerge as a great option.
Abdurrasad here with Jimenez locked in, and JFPL Leola, FPA Leola has Jose Sa locked in. So a couple of Wolves players on people's minds, which is nice to see. Jacob Ramsey for Kahuna is a player over at Villa, obviously very exciting. Last season, I wonder what his price will be. Another Perisic in the comments. A few people with Son, Cancelo, Chilwell, Robert Sanchez. People already looking at keepers. Trippier, Kane, Neto. If 5.5, and at B, better Liverpool. So apart, Mark is saying he's not going for Salah. There's better Liverpool value elsewhere. This would be a big one for FPL actually this season. I think Mane has been kind of it's always been the Salah or Mane debate. Mane looks like he could be on the way out. That debate no longer exists. It'll be the Salah or Jota or Darwin debate. It kind of changes it up a bit. Or Diaz debate. Does Diaz just slot right in? Because I don't see FPL making whoever naturally replaces Mane and dominates and starts most games. They're not going to bring him in at 11 million, 10.5 million. Diaz shouldn't be there, in my opinion. I mean, Diaz or Jota should probably be in the 9-ish mark, maybe. What do you see happening there? Because, there could be better value elsewhere in Liverpool now if there is someone who cements that position. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think there'll be anybody better in value than Salah. Even looking at the price difference, because the thing is, you need to kind of obviously take into consideration that you're going to be captain Salah most weeks.
That's fair.
Even if Diaz, and Jota come in at 4 or 5 million less. They don't have that assurity of starts that Salah has. So I think it'll be a case of Salah as the number one guy in your team, and then you probably pick out the other guys with Diaz, Jota, Darwin. Yeah, so I mean, with Darwin coming in, it's kind of put things back in the mix again. I think if Mane had left and they didn't make a signing, then Diaz would probably be quite locked in a lot of people's teams, but Darwin signing is kind of put the cut amongst pigeons again. So yeah, I don't know. I think getting that kind of third, I think obviously you got Salah and Trent there as locks, and then that third Liverpool spot is going to be a tough one again this season. It's going to be probably between Jota and Diaz. I think with Darwin as well, new to the league, it's going to be kind of risky going with them from game week 1.
I see how Diaz came in and really impacted the league. Like, again, all speculation, and to be honest with you, none of it really matters because we're going to see pre-season and have a better idea and whatever else. But I could really see one of the standout options becoming a Diaz or a Jota. Probably, I would lean more towards Diaz. I think Jota's more likely to be rotated with Darwin personally. But I think Diaz could come in there, replace that Mane role. If Mane leaves, this is all, again, conjecture. This is all just speculating. If Mane was to leave, I could see Diaz coming in there and just nailing down that role for the season. And I don't see him being 10 plus million, so I do think there could be value there. But that doesn't mean not Salah for me. That means opportunity to actually have the previously unaffordable Liverpool triple up. It's always been defence. You have to go. Maybe there's an opportunity to go attack. But anyway, again, we're just chatting shite. Locked Vardy. I've seen Vardy mentioned a few times. What are your thoughts on Vardy this season?
I think, with the opening, I don't think the Leicester have got the best opening games. We've got Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United in the first 6. So I think with Vardy as well, I think you need to look at his age and his fitness. I think he will. If he's fit, he's going to start. Every game that he's fit, in my opinion. Not every game, but he'll probably start. If you look at the league, maybe start 30 to 32 games. If he's fit for the full. But obviously the question is, is he going to be fit? Because he did get a few injuries last season, a few niggling ones. He missed quite a bit last season. So, yeah, I guess. He's not one I'm going to start with, but he's always. I think for the last 2 or 3 seasons, people have been writing him off, saying that he's getting old. But he keeps proving everybody wrong. So, yeah, for Vardy, I'm not writing him off, but I won't start with him.
Heisenberg's in the comments saying lock Saka, and we did mention Saka. I just think, everyone's going to be looking at Arsenal, and he is the standout option, and he's probably not going to break the bank. He won't be as, I don't know, where does Saka come in? 8 million?
Yeah, I'd say 8 million.
8 million, something like that.
Yeah, and I think he's pretty certain to be locked at that price. With those fixtures, I think quite a few good options will be about 8 million. Yeah. So like Saka, Bowen, possibly Foden. So I think looking at that kind of the fixture swings in that price point will be interesting as well throughout the season.
Matty Cash, people are projecting that he could be priced out. Maybe his price will be ripped up a bit. What do you think on him?
Yeah, again, Villa's fixtures. I think with the back line, I think I'll be pretty set. As I said before, with Trent, Chilwell or James. Cancelo and 2 4.5s. So I don't see my cash coming at 4.5. So I think at the moment, mid defence is pretty much set. I guess it'll be the other positions that we don't have a clue about. But I don't see value in the Villa defender in those first 6 game weeks. I think if you're going to look at cheap kind of 4.5 to 5.5 million defenders, then Wolves and Brighton, even Brentford actually, looking up there, they're high up on the table as well. So I think those are the teams to look at.
Yeah. Yep. Lots of interesting stuff in the comments. Is there anything that jumps out at you or anything else you want to dig into here on this fixture graphic?
No, I can't actually see the comments. So
Oh bollocks! It's all on me. So,
yeah,
so let me see. I'll see if there's a couple more jump out at me here. Locked Veltman, not Antonio. A few people liking the Brighton defense.
yeah. I've just opened up on my phone. So yes, Arjun is asked about KDB or Haaland, which is an interesting one. I think. Because I think you're gonna have to pick between one. You're not gonna be able to get both. I mean, there's always going to be sacrifices you have to make. And I think it depends, again, it's a good question. I think it depends on the price that they come in at. They're probably coming at the same price, maybe 11.5, 12 million. And yeah, so, do you go for the proven KDB or, kind of do you go for Haaland? I think with the amount of midfield options that we have, I think Haaland will probably be the favourite there.
I don't know. I again back to head says not Haaland, heart says Haaland. I really want to be involved in that whole Haaland thing. I just think there's so many issues that could prevent his minutes.
Yeah,
And I think goals can come from anywhere in that Man City side as well. I don't think it's necessarily locked that it'll be him.
yeah, that's true as well.
I mean, obviously, if City are going to win 4-0 and Haaland plays, he's going to be in there somewhere. But, like, I don't know. It'll be really, 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 really hard not to start without him, and I'm probably going to.
Yeah.
But part of me is like, oh, I'm going to look at this after 4 game weeks and regret it.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see whether he gets penalties as well. And I think he probably will, to be honest. He takes them for his country, he took them for Dortmund. So I think he'll probably get the penalties. And it's also interesting, well, not interesting, but just good to know that Haaland and Salah will not be going to the World Cup. So, you've got that kind of... I mean, we don't know if FPL are going to give like unlimited transfers after the World Cup or not, but if they don't, then, they'll probably be kind of locks in your team as well because... they're not going to win the World Cup, so they're not going to be injured, etc., or pick up anything during that month. So yeah, it's just another point.
Another big man up top we haven't mentioned is Ronaldo. We haven't actually said his name this stream. Obviously, United not with the best fixtures, but not starting with the worst outside Liverpool, really. Brighton, Brentford, Southampton, Leicester, either side of that Liverpool fixture. I doubt he's in many people's first teams whenever you have other options at the higher price points elsewhere in the pitch, but like, in terms of a player going into next season, any thoughts on him?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, we saw Ronaldo's output this season. It was, at his age, world class. You know what I mean? He was scored. I think it was 18 goals. Was it he scored last season? Yeah. But he did still miss a lot of games, and whether it was kind of through like he had like a niggling injury with his hip. That he missed a few games, and I think he missed a few with illness. But we've seen this trend over the last few seasons. Even when he was at kind of his endies at Juventus, his minutes have been gradually decreasing, which is natural, at his age. But when he plays, he performs. But again, when you got the likes of like Haaland, Kane, and then you've got you're going to have your mid-priced options, who play 90 minutes every game. I think for me, Ronaldo will probably be a miss this season. I mean, there's probably points in the season in which I'll own him, maybe during good fixture runs, etc. But I certainly don't think I'll be starting with Ronaldo. Price point wise, I think probably maybe coming at maybe 10.5, 11. Yeah, so
it will be important, I think, regardless at the start of the season. Well, the thing is, it's nice whenever there's a couple of premium options that could work out. Kane, Haaland, Ronaldo. All be up around that 10 plus million mark. Maybe there's someone else I'm forgetting. I don't know. I don't think Vardy will be that much this season. Chelsea, Lukaku's on his way out, isn't he? Back to Inter, and then my point is here. I think everyone will have that really premium slot up top this season. I remember. I think it was last year. Did I start with Ronaldo last year? I can't remember, but in previous seasons, I can't remember going for kind of a cheapish forward line and bulking up midfield, but I think this year it's going to be imperative that you have a 10 plus million player up top just to kind of be agile. But I'm going to tell you something here, Abdul, that I don't think you'll believe it. I actually don't think you'll believe it. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready. Yeah.
You're about to be insulted. There's 250 people watching us, and can you believe that only 60 of them have hit the like button? 60 of them.
Oh,
that's like less than 25%.
I've just had it on my phone, so
they mustn't like us. Hit that like button, guys, because we're wrapping up shortly, and it'd be great if you do that before you leave, because I know what yous are like. Yous will leave and you'll forget, and you'll think, God, I wish I had done it because I liked that. I just forgot to like it. So yeah, I don't know. Is there any teams we haven't mentioned, and we'll wrap this up? So I'm looking through there. I mean, Chelsea are a weird one this year. You've mentioned Chilwell in defence. It's a bit all over the place, isn't it, at Chelsea? But I mean, they don't have bad fixtures. People might want some of their players. It's who do you go for? I just feel like they've got that real depth of asset, and like no one is really the standout.
I mean, to be honest, for me, I think with Chelsea, the only one that really interests me right now is, James or a Chilwell. Their midfield options, Havertz, Mount, don't really interest me at the moment. If their forward line, as you said, Lukaku's going, most likely, and then they've got Werner there, who's their next best option. So, and they've got Rudiger as well, who's gone away to Real Madrid. So at the moment they've not. I mean, you've not really seen them being busy in the transfer market, have you? Really, Chelsea with the replacements. So, I guess Chelsea in general are waiting to see. We'll see closer to the deadline, see where they're at. But I think a fit Reece James is just too good value, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm looking there in the comments. David Alveoli dropped the wee like in. Thank you, sir. Tech XEO wants to know about Undav. He's mentioned him a few times here. The thing for me, like, I'm just going to come back on the Undav thing and then see what you maybe think. He's gone to Brighton, I think. I've been there before. With Brighton. You get them all pay and you think you're being clever. They've good fixtures. Bottom line is they aren't going to score 1 million goals. He's unproven in a top 5 league in Europe. I'm not saying it's not going to work out. I'm not saying he's not a good budget striker option. I'm just saying, like, risk there. Like, I mean, he could end up looking like a potato after 3 weeks, and then you're just burning a transfer. I don't know.
So who are you talking about, sorry?
Undav. He was pretty good in the Jupiler Pro League in Belgium last year, and I think he's moved to Brighton. Okay. But Tech actually was here saying about him being a good cheap enabler, and I think it's like there's going to be a lot of players like this that come into the league that have excelled outside Europe's top 5 leagues, or even in the likes of Italy or Spain, and then you're always double guessing yourself. I hate that. I actually love it, Abdul. It makes the game spicy at the start, but I remember like a few seasons ago, remember the year there was the IU and someone else come in and they ripped up the league. But then more often than not, the transfers, the new guys in the league don't really excite you for a few weeks, but everyone wants them because they're new and shiny. Do you know what I mean? It's a hard balance to strike.
Yeah, I mean, there is always that kind of, that attraction of new players coming from different leagues. And, even like with Haaland, everyone's kind of, probably getting swayed by the glamour of the transfer, and, the player, the profile of the player and, his personality, etc. So, yeah, I mean, that's something that you need to kind of, take out your head FPL-wise. I mean, as I was saying earlier, I mean, it's, if he comes in at the same price as Harry Kane, it's a tough decision.
And I mean, I think if the fixtures were a little bit more, if that Chelsea fixture wasn't there for Spurs in game week 2, I think everyone, well, not everyone, but I feel like it's ridiculous not to just pick Kane based on his proven track record versus Haaland in the Premier League and the risks involved. But as you say, it is that magpie thing where everyone's just going to want the glitz and the glam of the new guy. But Abdul, look, we've been going for over half an hour, coming on 40 minutes now. Any final thoughts or anything to chuck in?
No, I think we've covered everything, John. Well, not everything, but I think we've covered most, in terms of what we can really. I mean, as we've talked about as much as we could talk about, I think really we need, obviously, the game to launch, to kind of take that discussion further in terms of, like all the price points and which players we're going for. But I think we kind of generally, I think we now kind of have a good idea of what premiums I think will be in our team, from what teams, we could see, like, we'll definitely be captaining, Liverpool, Man City players, for the first 6 game weeks, the players to, teams to avoid, like, Man United, I think Man United, West Ham, Crystal Palace, probably teams to avoid, Leicester as well. So yeah, I think we're kind of covered on that front point.
Very good. Well, look, I suppose all I'll say to everyone in the comments is, and everyone watching this after the fact, you can find Abdul at FPL Salah. Abdul, thanks a million for joining me. My name's John Nellis. You can find me at John Nellis. If you're interested in trying out Hub, there is a link in the description. I'll get paid if you use it, so please do. It is a bit early, but maybe you go in and have a click around and see some of these fixtures in the different tools we have over there. But Abdullah, the plug before we leave?
Sorry, John. Didn't quite get that.
Anything to plug, anything to pump, anything to
Oh no,
send at the club?
I've not got anything
No.
at all. No, so just give me a follow on